Hey everyone! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Global Coin News, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Today we are diving into one of the most exciting and widely collected series in American numismatics, the Roosevelt 1-dime coins. These small 10-cent coins may look ordinary at first glance, but hidden among them are rare varieties, minting errors, and high-grade specimens that have shocked collectors with prices reaching hundreds, even thousands of dollars in today's market. Before we begin, there has been a lot of viral talk online about certain Roosevelt dimes being banned or restricted in 2026. Let's be clear from the start, this claim is not officially confirmed and should be treated as internet rumor rather than verified fact. What is real, however, is the growing demand, rising values, and intense collector interest that is pushing rare Roosevelt dimes into the spotlight like never before. So stay with us, because what you're about to see could completely change the way you look at coins in your pocket. Let's get started. First up, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1989 Roosevelt dime with a D mint mark, a coin that most people overlook but one that carries history, mystery, and in some cases, surprising value in today's auction market. To truly understand why this coin matters, we have to go back in time. The Roosevelt dime series was first introduced in 1946, just after the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The nation wanted to honor a leader who guided America through the Great Depression and World War II, and the dime became a lasting tribute to his legacy. Designed by John R. Sinek, the coin features Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a symbolic torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse representing liberty, peace, and strength. By 1989, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for decades, becoming one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history. The 1989 D mint mark tells us that this particular coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the major facilities responsible for producing coins for circulation across the United States. Millions of these dimes were produced that year, which might make you think they're all common and ordinary. But in the world of coin collecting, the story is never that simple. Even within a year of high production, certain coins stand out due to condition, striking quality, and rare minting errors. Now let's take a closer look at the features that define the 1989 D Roosevelt dime. The obverse displays a clean, left-facing portrait of Roosevelt, with the word, Liberty, boldly inscribed along the left edge, and the phrase, In God We Trust, tucked neatly below the chin. The year, 1989, sits to the right, accompanied by the small but significant D mint mark just beside it. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the iconic torch in the center, flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right. Around the edges, the inscriptions, United States of America, and 1 dime complete the design. The 1989 D Roosevelt dime was designed by John R. Sinek, and PCGS listed as a regular strike-clad dime with a reeded edge, a diameter of 17.90 millimeters, and a weight of 2.27 grams. Its composition is the familiar modern dime makeup of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel over a pure copper center. The Denver Mint mark, D, identifies where it was struck, and the huge original mintage of 896,535,597 coins explains why this date is so easy to find in normal circulated condition. At first glance, these details may seem standard, but collectors pay close attention to subtle differences. The sharpness of the strike, the clarity of the lettering, and the presence or absence of wear all play a crucial role in determining value. A coin described as being in fine condition typically shows moderate wear, with some flattening of details, yet still retains clear features. It's not brand new, but it's far from heavily worn, and that balance makes it appealing to many collectors who want affordable yet collectible pieces. So, what makes a 1989 D dime potentially valuable? The answer lies in rarity within condition and the possibility of mint errors. While most circulated examples are worth only their face value, coins in higher grades or those with unique characteristics can command significantly higher prices. For instance, a well-preserved 1989 D dime in uncirculated condition with strong luster and minimal marks can fetch several dollars, sometimes even reaching into the $20,000 to $50,000 range depending on grading. But the real excitement comes when errors enter the picture. Error coins such as those with off-center strikes, doubled dies, or die cracks can turn an ordinary dime into a collector's prize. Some rare error examples from the late 1980s have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. Even a coin in fine condition, if it carries a noticeable and desirable error, can surprise collectors with its value. This is why experienced coin hunters always examine their change carefully, looking for those small imperfections that can make a big difference. In today's market, the 1989 Roosevelt dime remains a low-cost coin in lower grades. NGC says a 1989 Roosevelt dime in circulated condition is worth between 15 cents and 35 cents, which shows how little premium most worn examples carry. Price charting lists the 1989 D with an ungraded market value of about $1.78, while higher certified grades rise to around $10.08 at MS64, $16.45 at MS66, $45.22 at MS67, and $54 at MS68. USA Coin Book estimates the 1989 D Roosevelt dime at $2.79 or more in uncirculated condition, and its melt value is only about $0.0284. So if you are holding a fine example, the honest answer is that it is usually a small value coin, not a jackpot piece, unless it has a special error, exceptional eye appeal, or a premium certified strike. For collectors and beginners alike, there are a few key tips to keep in mind when searching for valuable dimes. Always inspect your coins under good lighting, and consider using a magnifying glass to spot fine details or potential errors. Pay attention to the mint mark and the overall condition of the coin, and avoid cleaning your coins, as this can significantly reduce their value. If you believe you found something special, getting it professionally graded can provide clarity and potentially increase its market appeal. It's clear that the 1989 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark is more than just spare change. It's a small piece of history, a reflection of American craftsmanship, and a reminder that hidden value can exist in the most unexpected places. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the thrill of discovery is what makes coin hunting so exciting. Next up, the United States Roosevelt 1 dime from 1969 with the D mint mark, especially in very fine condition. At first glance, it may look like just another small silver-colored coin, but for collectors who understand its history, condition sensitivity, and market demand, it can represent something far more intriguing. To truly appreciate this coin, we have to travel back in time to its origins. The Roosevelt dime series was first introduced in 1946, shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The United States Mint chose Roosevelt not only to honor his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, but also because of his strong connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which fought against polio, a disease he personally battled. This made the dime a powerful symbol of hope, resilience, and national unity. By 1969, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for over 2 decades, becoming one of the most widely used coins in American daily commerce. The 1969 D version was struck at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mark on the coin. The coin itself carries a simple but elegant design. On the obverse, we see the familiar profile of President Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the United States Mint. The word, Liberty, appears boldly along the left side, while the motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed beneath the chin. The year, 1969, is placed at the bottom, along with the D mint mark indicating Denver production. On the reverse side, the design features a torch at the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength. The inscriptions, "United States of America," and "1 dime," complete the reverse design. Even though it is made primarily of a copper-nickel-clad composition rather than silver, its historical significance remains strong. The coin is small, only 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and weighs about 2.27 grams, but its design carries deep national symbolism. The D mint mark is placed on the obverse near the date, marking its Denver origin. The coin is made of a clad composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silvery appearance without containing any actual silver. What makes the 1969 D Roosevelt dime especially interesting to collectors is not just its design, but its condition sensitivity and survival rate in higher grades. In very fine condition, the coin shows moderate wear but retains most of its major details, including Roosevelt's facial features and the sharpness of the torch and branches on the reverse. Coins in this condition are typically circulated, meaning they were used in everyday transactions before being saved by collectors. While this dime was produced in large numbers, most surviving examples are heavily worn, damaged, or lost in circulation over time. That makes well-preserved examples more desirable than many people expect. Rarity in this context is not about extreme mint errors or low mintage numbers, but about quality preservation. The 1969 Roosevelt dime had a high production output from the Denver Mint, so it is considered rare in absolute terms. However, finding one in very fine condition or better, especially with strong detail and minimal surface damage, is increasingly challenging as time passes. Collectors often seek coins that maintain sharp details in Roosevelt's hair and a clear separation in the torch lines on the reverse. These quality factors heavily influence collector demand and market desirability. When it comes to market value, the 1969 Roosevelt dime in very fine condition typically does not reach extreme prices like rare key-date coins, but it still holds a respectable place in the collector market. In today's coin market, such a coin generally ranges from a few dollars to around $5,000 to $10,000 depending on eye appeal, luster, and exact grade assessment. However, coins that are graded higher, such as extremely fine or uncirculated conditions, can command significantly higher prices, sometimes reaching $15,000 to $25,000 or more in strong collector sales. Certified examples from professional grading services can also increase buyer confidence and overall value. For collectors, the key tip is to always pay attention to condition and details rather than just the date alone. Many beginners make the mistake of assuming all old coins are valuable, but in reality, grading is everything in numismatics. If you come across a 1969 dime, examine it closely under good lighting. Look for remaining luster, sharpness and design elements, and minimal scratches or wear. Avoid cleaning the coin, as cleaning can dramatically reduce its value in the eyes of serious collectors. Instead, store it safely in a coin holder or protective capsule to preserve its condition over time. Another important tip is to learn how to compare coins within the same series. By studying multiple Roosevelt dimes from different years and conditions, you develop an eye for grading differences. This skill is what separates casual collectors from serious numismatists. It also helps you recognize when a coin is truly above average for its grade, which can make a big difference in resale value. The United States Roosevelt 1 dime 1969D in very fine condition may be $1 million rarity, but it represents something equally important in the world of coin collecting: the beauty of history preserved in everyday currency. It tells the story of American minting, honors a beloved president, and connects generations of collectors through a shared passion for small but meaningful pieces of metal. While its market value may remain modest, its historical and collectible value continues to make it a respected piece in the numismatic world. For anyone starting or expanding a coin collection, next up we are talking about the United States Roosevelt 1 dime from 1985, struck at the Philadelphia Mint with the P Mint mark, and found here in extra fine condition. While it may look ordinary at first glance, its production and its collector value in today's market reveals a much more interesting picture than its 10-cent face value. To truly understand this coin, we have to go back to its origin. The Roosevelt dime series was first introduced in 1946, shortly after the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, one of the most influential leaders in American history. The United States Mint decided to honor him with a new 10-cent coin, replacing the Mercury dime design. The new coin was designed by John R. Sinek, and it has remained in circulation ever since, becoming one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. By the time 1985 arrived, the Roosevelt dime was already a well-established part of everyday American commerce, produced in massive quantities to support circulation across the country. The 1985 Roosevelt dime specifically was struck in huge numbers at the Philadelphia Mint, with a mintage exceeding hundreds of millions of coins. This means the coin was never intended to be rare in the traditional sense. It was produced for daily use, for vending machines, for pocket change, and for general circulation. The composition of the coin is also modern, consisting of a copper nickel-clad layer over a pure copper core, giving it durability rather than precious metal value. Unlike older silver dimes, the 1985 issue carries no intrinsic silver content, which is an important detail for collectors to understand when evaluating its worth. Visually, the coin carries the classic Roosevelt portrait on the obverse, with the word Liberty and the motto "I in God We Trust" surrounding his profile. The date 1985 appears clearly, along with the mint mark P indicating it was struck in Philadelphia. On the reverse side, you will find the torch of liberty at the center, flanked by olive and oak branches symbolizing peace and strength. The inscriptions E Pluribus Unum and 1 dime complete the traditional design. In extra fine condition, the details of Roosevelt's hair, facial features, and the torch remain clearly visible but show light wear from circulation, giving the coin a balanced appearance between sharp detail and honest use. Now comes the important question collectors always ask. Is the 1985 P. Roosevelt dime rare? The honest answer is that in general circulation it is not considered rare at all. With a mintage exceeding 700 million pieces, it is one of the most common dimes of its era. Most examples found in pocket change are worth only face value. Even in extra fine condition, which indicates moderate circulation wear but clear details, the coin typically remains in the range of about 10 cents to a few dollars at most in standard collector markets. According to modern coin pricing data, even higher mint state examples usually only reach a few dollars unless they exhibit exceptional qualities such as full band strike detail or certified high grades. However, the world of coin collecting is never just about mintage numbers. Condition plays a massive role in determining desirability. An extra fine 1985 Roosevelt dime shows that the coin has been in circulation but has avoided heavy damage. This makes it more appealing to beginner collectors who are building circulated date sets. While it may be a high-value coin in terms of auction records, it still holds steady collector demand as part of complete Roosevelt dime collections. In rare cases, coins with exceptional strike quality or mint errors can push values significantly higher, sometimes reaching $100,000 depending on the variety. When we look at the current market value in today's dollars, a standard 1985 P. Roosevelt dime in extra fine condition generally remains close to its face value range. Most examples trade for around 10 cents to under $1 in bulk or circulation lots, while carefully selected collectible pieces in higher preservation can reach a few dollars. Only top-graded mint state specimens or era coins break beyond that range, and those are not typical for everyday finds. For collectors, the real value of a coin like this is not just monetary, but educational and foundational. If you are building a collection, the 1985 Roosevelt dime is an excellent example of modern U.S. coinage and helps you understand grading, mint marks, and circulation history. One of the most important tips for collectors is to always examine your coins closely under good lighting. Look for sharp strike details, unusual doubling, missing mint marks, or full band separation on the torch reverse, as these are the features that can turn an ordinary dime into a significantly more valuable piece. Even coins that appear common can sometimes surprise you if they carry a minting error. Another important tip is preservation. Even though this coin is extremely valuable, keeping it in a dry, protected environment helps maintain its condition. Avoid cleaning coins, as cleaning can reduce collector value dramatically. Instead, store them in holders or coin flips if you plan to keep them long term. The 1985 Roosevelt 1 dime with P mint mark in extra fine condition is a fascinating piece of modern U.S. currency history. While it is a rare or high-value coin in most cases, it represents an important era of mass-production coinage and remains a staple in Roosevelt dime collections around the world. Next up, we're diving into a coin that many people overlook, the 1980 Roosevelt dime with the Denver D mint mark. At first glance, it may seem like just another piece of everyday change, but under the right conditions, this small silver-colored coin can hold surprising value in today's collector market. The Roosevelt dime series has a rich and emotional history. First introduced in 1946, shortly after the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the coin was designed as a tribute to his legacy and his efforts in founding the March of Dimes campaign. By 1980, the coin had already become a staple of American currency for decades. The 1980 D. Roosevelt dime was minted in Denver, one of the major United States mint facilities, producing millions of dimes for everyday circulation. Unlike earlier silver dimes, by 1980 these coins were made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, which gave them durability for daily use. While millions were produced, the passage of time and the wear of circulation have made high-quality examples much harder to find today. Now let's take a closer look at what makes the 1980 D dime unique. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, facing left, with clean and sharp details that reflect the artistry of its designer. The word Liberty stretches along the left side, while "In God We Trust" is inscribed near the bottom. The year 1980 appears clearly to the right. Just above the date, you'll spot the small but important D mint mark, indicating it was struck in Denver. On the reverse side, the design features a torch at the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength. The inscription "United States of America" surrounds the design, along with one dime. While these features may seem standard, collectors pay close attention to strike quality, surface preservation, and even tiny minting errors that can dramatically increase value. When it comes to rarity, the 1980 Roosevelt dime is not considered rare in general circulation. However, this is where condition becomes everything. A coin in very good condition, as we're discussing today, shows noticeable wear but still retains clear details. These coins are common, but here's the twist: finding one that has been well preserved, with minimal scratches, strong detail, and possibly even an error or a unique strike characteristic, can significantly boost its appeal. Coins that were never heavily circulated or were preserved in collections often fetch higher prices, especially when graded by professional services. Even slight differences in luster or strike sharpness can separate an ordinary coin from a collectible one. In today's auction market, the value of a 1980 Roosevelt dime in very good condition is typically modest, often ranging from a few cents to a couple of dollars. However, coins in higher grades, such as extremely fine or uncirculated condition, can command much higher prices, sometimes reaching $100, $500, or even more depending on quality and demand. The real excitement comes when rare mint errors are involved, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or unusual planchet issues, which can push the value into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That's where collectors get truly excited, because these hidden variations turn ordinary coins into extraordinary finds. For collectors and treasure hunters, the key is attention to detail. Always examine your coins under good lighting and consider using a magnifying glass to spot fine features or errors. Pay close attention to the mint mark, the sharpness of Roosevelt's profile, and the clarity of the torch and branches on the reverse. Storing your coins properly is also crucial. If you believe you've found a high-quality example or something unusual, it may be worth getting it professionally graded, as certification can greatly increase its market value and credibility. The 1980 Roosevelt dime serves as a perfect reminder that value isn't always obvious at first glance. What appears to be a simple, everyday coin can carry history, craftsmanship, and even hidden worth. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey, never underestimate the coins in your pocket. Next up, we are talking about the United States Roosevelt 1 dime from the year 2001 with the D mint mark, struck at the Denver Mint, and found in very fine condition. At first glance it may look ordinary, but when you understand its background, design, and collector interest, you start to see why even modern coins can attract attention in the collecting world. We need to go back to its historical roots. The Roosevelt dime series began in 1946, introduced shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1945. The United States Mint honored him not only because he was a beloved president, but also because of his strong connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which fought against polio, a disease Roosevelt himself battled. The dime was chosen for this tribute because of his symbolic association with the cause. Since then, the Roosevelt dime has become one of the longest-running and most widely circulated coin designs in American history, continuing for decades with only subtle design changes along the way. Fast forward to the year 2001, a time when the United States Mint was producing billions of coins for everyday commerce. The 2001 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark was struck in Denver and released into massive circulation across the country. It features the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, designed by John R. Cynic, showing Roosevelt facing left with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year 2001. On the reverse, you see the classic torch at the center representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace and an oak branch symbolizing strength and independence. The inscriptions, "United States of America," and "1 dime," complete the design, giving it a balanced and timeless appearance. Now, when we talk about its physical characteristics, the 2001 D Roosevelt dime is made primarily of a copper core clad in a mixture of copper and nickel, giving it a silvery appearance, but without any actual silver content. It weighs approximately 2.27 grams and has a diameter of 17.9 millimeters, making it one of the smallest circulating coins in the United States system. The edge is reeded, which historically helped prevent coin clipping in older times. In very fine condition, meaning it has seen circulation but still retains strong detail in Roosevelt's hair, facial features, and the torch lines on the reverse, the coin still maintains its original design clarity without major wear or damage. When it comes to rarity, this is where many collectors get surprised. The 2001 D Roosevelt dime is not a rare coin in terms of mintage. In fact, it was produced in very large numbers, running into hundreds of millions. Because of this high mintage, it is considered a common circulation coin. However, condition is where the story changes slightly. While most examples are heavily circulated and worn, finding one in extremely fine or uncirculated condition straight from rolls or mint sets can still interest collectors who build complete date and mint collections. But it is important to understand that it is not a key date, and it does not belong to the category of rare or low mintage dimes that command high premiums. Now let's talk about market value in today's coin collecting world. In very fine circulated condition, the 2001 Roosevelt dime typically holds a value very close to its face value of 10 cents. In some collector markets or bulk coin sales, it might sell for a small premium, often around 10 to 25 cents depending on demand and eye appeal. Even in uncirculated condition, it usually remains a low-value coin, often valued under $1 unless it has a special error or comes from a certified mint set with high grading. The real value jump only happens if the coin has a minting error such as misstrike, off-center strike, or unusual planchet defects, which are highly sought after by error collectors. For collectors, the key lesson with coins like the 2001 Roosevelt dime is not always about high monetary value, but about completion, preservation, and attention to detail. If you are building a Roosevelt dime collection, this coin is an essential piece because it represents the modern era of the series. It helps complete a full date run, and finding well-preserved examples can still be satisfying for collectors who appreciate condition quality rather than rarity alone. If you are hunting through pocket change, coin rolls, or bank boxes, always look carefully at the strike quality, luster, and any unusual minting characteristics that could separate a common dime from something special. Here is an important tip for collectors. Always store your coins properly, even if they are modern and common. Use coin flips, albums, or airtight holders to prevent unnecessary wear and environmental damage. Never clean coins, because cleaning can significantly reduce their collector value even more than circulation wear. And most importantly, learn to recognize the difference between normal circulation wear and actual mint errors, because that is where hidden value often lies. The United States 2001 Roosevelt 1 dime in very fine condition is a perfect example of a modern circulation coin that carries historical importance but remains highly accessible to everyone. While it may not be a rare or high-value coin in dollar terms, it still represents an important chapter in American coinage history and offers collectors a chance to appreciate design, history, and minting craftsmanship all in one small piece of metal. Sometimes the true value of a coin is not just in dollars, but in the story it tells and the journey it represents through everyday hands and everyday change. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more incredible coin discoveries and updates. Stay tuned, because your next coin could change everything. Happy collecting!